Welcome back to Steelers Talk, everyone. Today's buzz in Pittsburgh is all about Gabe Davis, the free agent wide receiver who is scheduled to visit the Steelers this Thursday. This visit has stirred a lot of excitement across Steelers Nation, especially since the team is actively searching for a dynamic playmaker to boost their offense after trading George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys just a few weeks ago. Gabe Davis presents a unique profile that the Steelers are clearly intrigued by, and it's worth diving into what makes this potential signing both promising and a bit questionable. Davis is still relatively young at 26 years old, standing at 6 feet 2 inches and weighing around 225 pounds. That size combined with his speed makes him a versatile threat, especially as a vertical receiver who can stretch the field. He's known for his ability to run double moves effectively, which helps him create separation against defenders, and his large frame makes him an intimidating target in the red zone. Beyond his receiving skills, he's also recognized for being an excellent run blocker, which is something the Steelers coaching staff values highly. In fact, his willingness and ability to block aggressively set him apart from many receivers around the league, and that effort is a big part of his appeal to a team that emphasizes a physical running game. Off the field, Gabe Davis has a reputation as a great teammate and locker room presence, which contrasts sharply with some of the issues that came up with George Pickens. Character and chemistry are crucial in building a cohesive unit, and having a guy who brings positive energy and works hard in practice can make a noticeable difference in the locker room atmosphere. For Pittsburgh, a city that prides itself on toughness and grit, this kind of personality fits right in. But there are definitely some red flags here. The biggest concern is that Davis tore his meniscus during the 2024 season while playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That injury had a significant impact on his performance last year, and it's fair to say he struggled to find his rhythm on offense outside of his time with the Buffalo Bills. His numbers dropped dramatically, which raises questions about his health and how quickly he can bounce back to full form. It's no secret that wide receivers rely heavily on their knees and quick cuts, so any lingering issues could limit his explosiveness and route running capabilities. One advantage for the Steelers is that Davis would come with a relatively low financial risk due to the offset clause in his previous contract with Jacksonville. Essentially, Pittsburgh can sign him for the veteran minimum, while the Jaguars would be responsible for paying the rest of his previous deal. This means the Steelers can add a potentially valuable piece without committing a large portion of their salary cap. It's a savvy move if Davis can return to form, and it fits the model of building depth on offense without breaking the bank. From a scheme perspective, Davis does fit well with what the Steelers are trying to do offensively under Arthur Smith. The team wants to stretch the field and create vertical threats that can open things up underneath. Davis's size and speed align with that vision, and his run blocking ability is a bonus that many other receivers don't offer. On early downs, having a receiver who can step up in the run game helps set the tone physically and forces defenses to account for him in multiple ways. Still, it's important to remember that just because Davis is coming in for a visit doesn't guarantee he will sign with Pittsburgh. Teams often bring in players for evaluations and workouts without making any commitments, so the visit is just one step in the process. Personally, I'm not convinced he's the best option out there for the Steelers' wide receiver room. There are other free agents and potential trade targets who could provide more complementary skill sets alongside DK Metcalf and the rest of the receiving core. One big red flag for me is the health concern. Both the San Francisco 49ers and New York Giants brought Gabe Davis in for visits earlier this offseason, but ultimately passed on signing him. That tells me their medical staff probably flagged some concerns about his meniscus or overall readiness to play at a high level. If two other organizations with strong medical teams decided not to commit, it's fair to wonder if the Steelers' doctors will come to the same conclusion. Moreover, Davis and DK Metcalf bring very similar skills to the table. Both are big-bodied receivers who excel as vertical threats but have a somewhat limited route tree. They rely heavily on straight-line speed and physicality, but don't offer a lot of versatility when it comes to route running or creating separation through change of direction. If Pittsburgh brings Davis in, they risk having two receivers who run nearly the same routes and create a predictable look for opposing defenses. Looking at Davis's recent production, It was frankly disappointing last season. His stats with Jacksonville were far below expectations for a player who was expected to be their primary outside receiver. Compared to his time in Buffalo with MVP caliber quarterback Josh Allen, his yards, receptions, and overall efficiency plummeted. He averaged just under 240 yards receiving in 2024, a stark drop from the previous year when he eclipsed 800 yards. His catch rate dipped below 50%, and his yards per target were alarmingly low. While some of that can be attributed to the struggles of quarterback Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars' offense as a whole, a portion of the blame has to fall on Davis himself for not getting open consistently or making contested catches. His drop rate on contested catches is a real concern. The numbers don't look terrible on paper, but when you watch the film, it becomes clear that he struggles to haul in the ball when there's defensive pressure. That kind of inconsistency can kill drives and frustrate both quarterbacks and coaches. When you compare him to younger receivers like Calvin Austin III, it's clear that Austin has a more reliable set of hands and overall better efficiency on the field. Austin's yards per reception and catch percentage last year were significantly higher, and his overall grade from analytics sites was more impressive. Granted, Austin is a much smaller receiver and doesn't offer the same run blocking ability that Davis brings. They'd serve different roles within the offense, but it's worth noting that Austin could very well be the Steelers' second best receiver, even if Davis is signed. That says a lot about Davis's current standing in the pecking order. Then there's the question of whether there are better free agent options available. Honestly, I think there are. Two names that come to mind immediately are Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper, both still on the open market and both with strong resumes. When you stack Davis's numbers up against theirs, he doesn't quite measure. Amari Cooper, for instance, has consistently posted solid yards per reception, yards per target, and catch percentages, even if his reputation as a run blocker isn't great. Keenan Allen, known for his route running and reliability, also outperforms Davis statistically in many categories. If the Steelers want to add a wide receiver who can truly complement DK Metcalf, someone like Amari Cooper would be a better fit. Cooper is a polished route runner with the ability to create one-on-one matchups and serve as a dependable safety net for the quarterback. The hesitation around signing Cooper or Allen likely comes down to the uncertainty at quarterback in Pittsburgh. Veteran wideouts want to know who's throwing them the ball before committing to a team, and the possibility of Mason Rudolph or Will Howard starting might make those players hesitant. That's where the potential signing of Aaron Rodgers comes into play. Having a seasoned quarterback could make the Steelers a more attractive destination for these free agents. In summary, the visit from Gabe Davis is intriguing, but far from a done deal. There are definite positives in his size, blocking ability, and scheme fit, and the financial terms could make him a low-risk gamble. On the flip side, the injury history, recent drop in production, limited route versatility, and redundancy with existing players give plenty of reasons for caution. The Steelers have tough decisions ahead as they try to balance risk, reward, and roster construction this offseason. Meanwhile, the situation with TJ Watt's contract continues to simmer. The Steelers reportedly extended an offer to Watt weeks ago, but negotiations remain ongoing as the two sides try to find common ground. Watt is an irreplaceable force on defense, and with the team in a win-now mindset, it's expected they'll pay top dollar to keep him. Rumors suggest the deal could push around $40 million per season, potentially making Watt the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history. That's a hefty price. But given his impact and multiple Defensive Player of the Year nods, it's a price many believe is justified. As Steelers OTAs progress, all eyes are also on tight end Darnell Washington, who has shed about 15 pounds this offseason to become leaner and more explosive. His combination of size and athleticism makes him a terror as a run blocker, arguably one of the best in the league, and if he can take a big step forward this year, the Steelers' ground game will be in a much better place. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. There's a growing buzz swirling around Pittsburgh, and it centers on what could be the biggest signing in the history of the Steelers franchise. None other than star wide receiver Tyreek Hill. While nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders and fans alike are speculating that the Steelers might be on the verge of landing the explosive playmaker, a move that would send shockwaves throughout the NFL. Tyreek Hill has been known for his electrifying speed and game-changing ability ever since he entered the league. His impact on any team is undeniable, and if the Steelers manage to secure him, it would undoubtedly be the most significant acquisition they've ever made. The team has a storied legacy filled with legendary players, but none quite match the kind of dynamic threat Hill represents in today's game. Rumors suggest that the Steelers front office is actively pursuing Hill, eyeing him as the final piece to transform their offense into a top-tier powerhouse. Pittsburgh's offense has long been respectable, but the addition of a receiver with Hill's quickness and versatility could catapult them into true contender status. The possibility of pairing him with their current roster is already getting fans excited about what this team might achieve next season. While details remain scarce and negotiations are reportedly ongoing behind closed doors, the chatter around this potential deal is hard to ignore. Analysts have pointed out how Hill's unique skill set complements the Steelers' offensive style, making this rumored signing feel like a natural fit. If the deal goes through, it wouldn't just be a game changer for the Steelers, it could shift the entire landscape of the NFL. Of course, with any big-name player linked to a new team, there are always hurdles, salary cap implications, contract, negotiations, and the logistics of fitting such a star into the existing squad. Still, the excitement from the fan base and media is already palpable. The Steelers are known for their rich tradition and competitive spirit, and adding Tyreek Hill could represent a new era of dominance for the franchise. As the offseason progresses, all eyes will be on Pittsburgh, waiting to see if this rumor solidifies into reality. For now, though, the idea of Tyreek Hill wearing the black and gold is enough to get the Steelers faithful buzzing. Could this be the most historic signing in Steelers history? Only time will tell, but the possibilities certainly have everyone talking. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.